50K being the largest group, but we noticed at least for income, whether you looked at 20, 30,000 or 250, 300,000, it was pretty equivalent across the board. So for perception and satisfaction, you'll notice really for a lot of these categories from 2013 to 2016, it didn't change really that much. Affordability was the one that was a new category. And as you can see, comparing that with the rest of the items, that is lower on its rating. Everything is above 2, which remember 4 was highly satisfied, with 1 or 0 being none. So 2 is kind of that middle point. But that, I wanted to just illustrate that, just showing all these areas really haven't changed a whole lot in the 3 years. But it's something we just want to continue identifying in case we see a major trend. I think the biggest change was with traffic flow on major streets was maybe the one that changed the most, but you can still see on there, it still hasn't changed a whole lot. Feedback on ratings of neighborhood conditions. So here, I read most of the comments here and put them into what are the 3 big categories. So the top comments that were areas requiring the most attention was public safety and crime prevention, road and alley conditions, pedestrian and bicycle safety. So this doesn't mean that we need to improve our performance. This is saying that moving forward as a board, we would like these areas to continue to be or receive attention. That's what the question was getting at. So I just wanted to specify that those were the 3 areas that received the most comments. As far as perceptions and improvements, as far as initiatives and developments, once again, we saw a few areas remain fairly consistent or similar, slight change in some. We had 2 new areas, which was the business district redevelopment and the improvements of parks and public spaces. And across the board, very close to 3, where we'll continue to monitor that and see over time how that changes. One of the things we asked about was what Shorewood needs, and we left it blank. And we received a lot of feedback on this question. Once again, I reviewed all those comments, put them into 3 buckets. The 3 buckets would be 1, that we want restaurants and businesses that fit the village culture and environment. 2, more recreation opportunities. And I just started listing some of the ideas that were mentioned, like a splash pad, playgrounds, outdoor theater space. There was a bunch of ideas for recreation opportunities, but those were some that received, I think, multiple comments. And then we had public and nighttime parking options, which several comments were asking for clarification on the overnight on-street parking restrictions. So this is one of the things I think maybe the board might want to think about. You'll see in a second what they, as far as easing parking restrictions, how they voted. But whether they said yes or no, a lot of comments were asking, could the village communicate why do we have nighttime parking restrictions in the first place? And and what are those benefits? So that might be something that we might want to do as a result of this.
Where's the hardware store?
I mean, we got a bunch of restaurant options. Yeah, the hardware store definitely came up. Mexican restaurant came up. Yeah. Instead of listing all those, I just wanted to put them in the first bucket. But okay. Did we get hardware store? I bet we got it 8 or 10 times. Yeah. Oh. As far as satisfaction with village services, here's the list here with customer service, library, garbage collection at the top. I looked at this as far as past trends. Once again, very similar. I haven't seen much of a change there. Alley maintenance was the last one, and that, once again, as I mentioned, alley maintenance, as far as making that a priority, was a continual theme of the survey. As far as the question, perceived difficulty of parking, you'll see when we ask about street during the day and on your street at night, very high percentage saying that was very easy. Shrunk a little bit when we had in public lots, but when it came to in the business improvement district, only 11% said very easy. So just something to note. We kind of changed the wording of this question a little bit so we could identify each section as a whole. So there you go, that's kind of a trend that I think is important to recognize. For the question supporting easing parking restrictions, just over 6% said yes versus no, and we had 19% that had no opinion, so pretty close to a 50-50 vote on that one. And as I mentioned, a lot were just asking for clarifications of why we have those parking restrictions in the first place. Whether supporting options when it comes to, for services, and whether what you want to do with your taxes, user fees, and services. A huge chunk, over 61% said they want to maintain services, even though that might be a small increase in user fees and or property taxes.
Inflation?
Yes.
I think that's what I said.
Yes. Needs for recycling and garbage collection, pretty high percentage, 68-69% said that they want to continue recycling on a bi-weekly basis. When it came to garbage collection, it was pretty 50-50 with majority of people, or just slight, I should say a slight majority, wanting to keep it weekly, but 44% said bi-weekly for garbage collection. As far as opinions regarding funding for sidewalk replacement, just over 7% more said they want to continue special assessments rather than adding the cost onto their general property tax levy. 12% had no opinion. As far as communication methods, no surprise here that the highest ones are ones that is given to them. They don't really have to go out of their way to get it. So the card flyers, Shorewood Today, postcards, those are all things that are given directly to them. They don't really have to go out of their way to get it. As we move down, those are probably things that they more and more have to go out of their way to get. I think with the YouTube channel, people, I don't know if they know that that's where, we're really only using that for our village board meetings. But that, I think we could have specified a little bit more. I was really happy with the village manager's memo. For very valuable, this was actually the third highest. So what that tells me is a lot of people that are getting it really like the content. But I think we just need to continue promoting that, because I think there's room for more people to know that it's an option available. So that was just one other thing I wanted to note. So what are some potential next steps? We want to share the results, I think, with all the village board committees and commissions, let them know on some of the trends so they can consider that for any items that they're moving forward with. I think, certainly if we want to have this as an agenda item for the Strategic Initiatives Committee, that makes sense, might make sense for them to review the results a little bit more and identify what those action items are. And then we can continue sharing the summary of the results in the public and continue promoting through our communication channels. So that's about my 10-15 minute presentation. Any comments or questions? Yes?
It didn't touch upon shared services, and I was pretty amazed that there is a very strong majority that favor sharing certain services with other communities.
Was that on here when you were looking for the...
It's just in the actual...
Yeah, and it's fairly consistent when we ask that question. I even looked in the past that it didn't change much, but there's certainly people that for some certain services that they want the village to research that. So I'd see that would be a trend that in past surveys is very similar.
Yeah.
And that's something that public policy formed, which is very hard to do, shared services.
I was just happy to know the residents also would support if we were looking into sharing services with other communities. And I think the most favorable ones were garbage, leaf collection, there was like 5, and then the least favorable were police and something else.
I think that's why, having Strategic Initiatives Committee review that and then identifying what those next steps are, or if you want to figure out logistically how that would or would not be feasible, I mean, that would be the perfect opportunity to ask staff that we are interested in doing any more research on that. That's where we would be happy to provide that information. Any other questions?
Yeah, I noted there were, I kind of went through the comments and then sort of searched for terms just to see what people said about various topics. And it seemed around Metro Market that I've noticed 19 comments about the traffic and concerns about pedestrian safety and the circulation within that parking structure. And I know that there's that we're going to do a review. We're scheduling 2019 to do a review of parking and head safety issues around that parking structure. And I think it might be worth thinking about moving that up, given that there was.
That's something we can talk about. We'll note that. I'm trying to memorize all these comments because I'm going to have to go back and take minutes. So if it looks like I'm processing, it's because my wheels are turning for the notes. So, and I can always go back to the video. That's right. Go ahead.
The last observation I made was, it seems that there is a larger openness to on-street parking at night, like your slide had mentioned, and I can read the comments, and the comments were pretty distinctive that there's a new community of people that are interested in potentially having on-street parking permits at night.
And what's kind of interesting about it is the fact that even though we're 54% rentals, the respondents here were only, what, 25% rentals?
Roughly.
Or 15, I can't remember what the number was.
Right. Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too, when you look at who the respondents are, and they're primarily people in single-family homes who have lived here a long time and who are relatively well off. And I think we need to, keep that in mind, that we really are, the survey results are sort of skewed towards, yeah.
That's why, once again, I think there's value having the committee take a little closer look at the results, because I can do some cross tabulations, and there's some already built in. If you just want to look at renters, and see how they voted, or see if someone is in, not a single family home, and see how they voted on items, we can do that. And I think that, that's one of the things that, out of the Strategic Initiatives Committee, that it's additional research to help with some of these potential policy issues. I think that's good, valuable things that,
We own the data.
we own the data.
So in terms of those queries, if we would say, boy, we'd like to look at this segment of the respondents and how do they respond on this issue, that's something that we can do internally. We don't have to go back to
Correct.
Sarah and those folks.
Correct.
What format is the data in?
It's in Excel. Yeah, they also have SPSS, but I don't think we have any SPSS here, which if I can get access, I know how to use SPSS. So, and for something like this, SPSS would be a lot more valuable than Excel, but I can still, Excel is just fine. It's just gonna take a little longer.
Well, we have not yet scheduled a strategic initiatives session to talk about this. So if there are additional things we want to do with this, maybe we can
You might want to suggest that on items for future consideration.
to us. So,
One more thing I just
No, you had your last one.
I want to say congratulations to the police department, because 80% said they were satisfied or very satisfied with the services that are provided by the police department.
I try to avoid having to services.
the other 15% got
They're
it.
happy to actually get any services.
I came up the elevator tonight with a guy with 2 tickets and he wasn't satisfied.
Hand out that survey form there.
Okay, thank you. Good job. Okay, that takes us to where I said we're going to do a flip-flop on 9B to 9A. So we'll do 9B first. Judiciary personnel and licensing. Consideration of resolution requesting complete shutdown of the Inbridge Line 5. Trustee McKay.
Great, so what I'd like to do is introduce this, and then as Commissioner gets into kind of just give us an overview of why you brought this forward. Well, actually, you addressed the board when you first asked for us to consider it. But he's available here for questions. But basically, this is, proposing to adopt a resolution requesting the complete shutdown of the line that carries oil
and natural gas.
and natural gas underneath the straits of Lake Michigan. So we wouldn't have any direct impact on the decision-making around this. This is more of just a show of support for the other communities that are advocating for this, and also a commitment to our water initiatives, Surfrider Wisconsin and Shorewood Waters Program. So that's why we wanted to entertain this and recommend to the full board.
And the fact that we are on Lake Michigan.
And the fact that we are, exactly. So with that, I would kind of open it up to see if there are questions for Eric.
Can you reintroduce Eric for people that may not?
So we have with us Eric Gibson, who is the president of Surfrider Wisconsin, which is locally based here in Shorewood. And Surfrider advocates for water quality and access to water all across the country. So are there any questions that you have for Mr. Gibson as far as his research on this topic?
So tell us why you're in favor of doing something like this for a community like Shorewood.
Sure. Well, I would start by thanking all of you for being the trustees and stewards of this village where I was born and raised, and where I now work and live. And I've raised my sons. So thank you for that. And I want to remind you that I'm sure you're aware of this, but you are also stewards of this shoreline, maybe 200 meters of